how was it growing up in the spotlight, guys?
In the spotlight, you say.
How was it growing up in the spotlight? Anyone?
It still felt like a dark cloud, personally. Yeah. No. I was never at a point when I was by myself that I felt settled or okay. I was almost completely detached, and I would only feel my life experiences when I was with another person, or I like was talking to another person when they were like reflected back at me, or my own ideas were reflected back at me through them. Right? It's almost like my brain went into like static or white noise when I'm by myself. I don't know if it's a fear or freeze or flight, like that kind of hits you when you have to be alone and intimate with yourself. But that didn't happen for me for so long. You know what I mean? It's
and
almost,
when you're
it's
in the
almost like
spotlight, you don't have to be. There's always somewhere to be and do and be seen.
I was always trying to like catch up in my own mind, regardless of what I was achieving outside of myself. In my own mind, I just was still, I mean, I was treating myself like nothing had happened to me external, right?
Yeah.
Like that just didn't even find its way into me, into that heart.
I think that's a case for a lot of people. It's like, from the outside, it's easy to look at spotlight, limelight, fame, attention like that and think, oh, that's going to solve this hole that I feel inside me. That's going to solve the I'm not enough. That's going to solve the I'll never be enough. Like all those fears and doubts, you think that attention is going to validate it away. And I mean, it's just pretty much universal that it might for a moment, you might think, and it doesn't. That can't solve it. Like, it can't. Yeah. But growing up in the spotlight, also, I felt like we were at like this nice in between level. Yeah. Like totally. Ned's, the way I describe it to people is whether you watched Hannah Montana or not, you knew who the fuck Miley Cyrus was. Yeah. If you didn't watch Ned's, you didn't know we existed. Right. But if you watch Ned's, you knew us and loved us.
There you go.
And so that like put us in this weird in-between where it's like I was still able to be anonymous in a lot of situations and experience the spotlight as the pursuit of what I loved. Like that came with me pursuing what I absolutely loved and wanted to do. So I don't know, it was kind of nice. And I still, like, we had our house in Georgia like until I was 19. So I would go back to Georgia and just feel like I'm just back at home with people I've grown up with my entire life. Like it's all good. So I guess I felt like my experience of it was a nice in between where I could do both and we weren't so fucking big that you can't like move through the world, you know?
Yeah.
See, spotlight for me has a different, like, acting is very personal, very private, very amazing. But I think I actually like didn't really want to be seen as myself without that extra layer of clothing on. Like, I didn't like red carpets. I don't like dressing up and going to them and getting all of that.
Yep.
I don't. Yeah. I always used to say, this would be the perfect job if you didn't have to do the press.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah. Yep.
And I didn't want that spotlight on myself. Like, it's like, here, let me show up this way. And this is a part of me inside that I would really,
acting. Let me show up in my craft, in my shit.
Yeah. And in a controlled environment where it's going to be heard, potent, and received rather than this just chaotic, isolated mess.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I fully agree with that. And then, you know, spotlight is like a term to use, but it's like, okay, what does that really mean? Is it the being on TV? Like, oh, that's a spotlight. I think of this spotlight more like a microscope than anything. And microscopes are very uncomfortable to be under. So like that whole press thing, I got to show up here and be gorgeous if that's what you're selling, or funny if that's what you're selling. You know, it's very tough when you're doing anything to be under a microscope. Yeah.
Because you start performing for the scope.
Yep.
That I definitely had to go through in my 20s was detaching that relationship. Because like we booked Ned's, you go through like media training, like you go through how you're supposed to relate to the press, media. You learn what like mask you need to put on to be, and as a kid, for me, it's like I want to be a good boy. I want to do what's right. I want to hit the mark.
People please.
But you're doing that with your being.
Yeah.
So I definitely had to relearn who the fuck I am. I had to reprogram after that phase. Man, like giving a kid insane amounts of attention and validation that you get as an actor, but for performing, even when they're just being themselves, like you start to become a caricature of your own self. Like your mask is you, but it's not you. But yeah, I definitely developed some major like people pleasing, always considering the external before myself because of this kind of relationship.
What are the optics of what I'm doing versus how does this actually make me feel?
Again, I'm always going to talk about it. Burning Man like liberated me in that way. That first time I went, I spent my entire life as an actor. I think all kids, and I think plenty of adults, are very self-aware. We're aware, what are people perceiving about me? How am I coming across? As actors, we're doing that on another level, and we are opening ourselves up to that perception and rejection all the time. It is constantly, it matters how people perceive you when you're an actor because you're trying to get booked. Yeah. So like you are hyper aware. Am I dressing the right way? Am I answering things right? How's my energy? Am I smiling? Right? So doing that for years, I didn't realize what it was doing. And then I got to like Burning Man the first time and was just like walking around in the dust wearing what the fuck ever. And everyone else is, and nobody gives a shit. I was free. I got to meet myself just free. No, it didn't matter. No one was judging me. I could feel it. Oh, I could feel it. Oh, there's no judgment.
I'm in the horde.
Because no matter what perspective you get on your life, you can feel when you walk into a room and you're being judged. You can turn it off, or you can try and turn off your care to it, but that's an active energy. You can feel it when you're being judged. Yeah. In the regular world, you feel it. I'm hyper aware of it. So going to a space where it wasn't even there, I went, oh, whoa, I am much bigger than I've let myself be. And like, I really like myself. I like who I am. Who am I actually?
Finding out. Yeah,
wait,
exactly.
What? Yeah. Wait, maybe I'm bigger than I thought. Like, maybe, wow. So yeah, that's definitely been a process.
I can say and do things without considering what other people are thinking.
Yes, I can act out of my own feeling and my own intuition and actually trust I don't have to relate it to others.
Yeah. I can be considerate of others,
for sure,
but not like, oh, I need that validation.
For sure.
Yeah.
But like my entire concept is not based off of like a sound, like something bouncing back at me from another.
Which being a kid actor, you have to be, everything is based on the external response to you.
Yep. Cut.
You get trained
like
in
this,
it.
Actually,
did I do? And you're a kid, so did I do good?
Hit your
how's the response? Did I do good? Did I do good? And then you are fucking anxious and neurotic. I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing.
And then you start expecting your friends to tell you you're good and funny, and you start keeping that performance. At least for me, like that performance continued, off of set. It like made me not as close to people, even though people are like, she's clever. It was like it was the easiest way to not know people. Too.
And people aren't looking for that from you. Like, we were validated for it because we were doing a job. We needed to perform. But then when you get into regular relationships, people are like, I don't
like to be around that.
Can you just be? Cut it out. What are you doing?
Stop asking me if you're good.
It's real.
I don't know. Devinisms asked, is Doug Sexy alive? And I have to say,
Doug Sexy never was.
Exactly. Did we ever?
Was he an actual individual? We got to look on IMDb.
Maybe we'll get
just a big crowd.
I know. Maybe we'll get to him. And did they ever show? I don't think they ever showed him. The gag is you never see him.
You never see him. How many more episodes? I mean, how many episodes is he in?
More. Okay. I remember, like, it's a running gag. Okay. He's in he plays out the series. But that's a funny question. But Doug Sexy never existed, dude. Doug Sexy's an idea, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Doug Sexy's in your head, man.
There's no ideal, beautiful person.
Come on, man. D. Noled Hictum. I don't.
Noled Hictum.
Nice.
Said also would Daniel consider performing Cowboy Cookie live?
Well, this isn't live, so I won't be doing it here. But we can figure it out. Yeah, we can figure it out.
Cowboy Cookie. I kind of forgot about Cowboy Cookie.
If Lil Nas X comes on to do it, we can do it.
You guys
Cowboy
can do
Cookie.
a little
Cowboy Hookie, Old Town Road.
Old Town Road, Cowboy Cookie mashup.
Ooh.
Bang, bang.
That is so good. TikTok, get at it.
Our generation ain't
at
ready.
it.
You know what I mean? I honestly feel like we gave him that idea from Cowboy Cookie for him to do that thing. Since he watched it.
Right?
I could believe it. Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Ned's Declassified Podcast Survival Guide. If you guys want some clips from the show, go on over to PodCo's YouTube channel. And you can also support our Patreon for more weekly bonus content. You guys know you want to see it. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.